In the news headlines this week, trade unions in South Africa welcome the ICJ case for the right to strike. Union Against Hunger call on government and retailers to lower food prices. And activists call on Rheinmetall Denel to stop supplying weapons to Israel. Good day, I'm Elona Sibunzi. The Congress of South African Trade Unions, COSATU, has welcomed the right to strike case that is being heard at the International Court of Justice, the ICJ. Brought by the International Labour Organization, public hearings at the request of 20 countries and 5 international organizations for an opinion by the ICJ on whether the right to strike is protected in terms of Convention 87 of the International Labour Organization. Speaking to Uhuru News, COSATU's Parliamentary Officer Matthew Parks said the case is about the right of workers to withhold their labour because of collective bargaining agreements and about putting pressure on government and employers to improve working conditions and workers' rights.
So we have welcomed the case that is currently before the International Court of Justice, which was initiated by the International Labour Organization and was actually spearheaded by COSATU's representatives at the ILO governing body, the Annual Assembly, in particular by COSATU's President Zingiswa Losi. It's enjoyed the support of trade unions across South Africa, but also across most of the world as well. And I think we're also quite heartened by the support we have received by the South African government and many other progressive governments around the world. We equally note that there are some governments around the world who don't support it, some business organizations too. We think that reflects badly on them. The case is basically about upholding the right to strike of workers, the right of workers to withhold their labor because of collective bargaining disputes, about putting pressure on employers or government to improve their working conditions or the living conditions of workers and so forth. The right to strike is a critical tool, also the trade movement, to advance socio-economic campaigns, to push for democracy, to end human rights abuses and so forth.
To mark World Food Day, the Union Against Hunger protested outside ShopRite stores in Johannesburg and Cape Town, calling on government and retail companies to reduce prices on essential food items to help struggling South Africans. Esther Padi, the national organizer for the Union Against Hunger, said they are demanding that ShopRite lower prices on 10 basic goods, including eggs, milk, maize meal and soya, to make nutritious food more affordable for ordinary families. Padi said that the country is currently facing a crisis where 20 million South Africans cannot afford to buy food and 11,000 children die of malnutrition annually.
People from low-income communities, representing many across the country, have come together to submit over 20 million signatures to ShopRite offices.
As the Union Against Hunger, we've given ShopRite 7 days to respond to our demands. If they do not respond, we will still continue and harshly push our campaign. We have footprint nationwide. In every province, we host what we call community hunger hearings, where we mobilize South Africans to forge behind and help us fight. So the Union Against Hunger, its mission is to make sure that we end hunger. And we are calling on all South Africans to rally behind us to make sure that we put these retailers to their knees.
We are struggling. From the community that I'm coming from, many homes are struggling. They do not even have the basic 3 meals a day because the food prices are so very high. You cannot be buying 10 kg maize meal for 120, 130. Cooking oil, 2-liter cooking oil is almost 100 rand. And when it comes to the basic grant, unemployment grant, they're saying it's 370. How does one survive with that?
Dozens of pro-Palestine supporters are protesting outside the Rheinmetall Denel factory in Makassar, Cape Town every week in line with global call to end the supply of weapons and ammunition to Israel amidst the genocide of the native Palestinian in Gaza and the West Bank. The activists called on Rheinmetall Denel, a subsidiary of the German arms manufacturer Rheinmetall AG, to cease complicity in what they termed war crimes and to align its operations with South Africa's international human rights obligations. The company has a poor track record in South Africa, including a major explosion in 2018 that led to the deaths of 8 workers, and families have continued to protest and demand answers, including a formal inquest citing a lack of transparency from the company. Desmond Stevens is the spokesperson for the Makassar Activist Forum.
Led a peaceful protest supported by hundreds of people across the Greater Cape Town and dozens of local and international organizations outside the Rheinmetall Denel factory in Makassar. As a community that has lived through oppression and injustice, we cannot remain silent while weapons made in our backyard contribute to the destruction of innocent lives in Gaza. Our message is clear. No to genocide, no to profit from bloodshed, and yes to peace and justice in Palestine. The Makassar Activist Forum further calls on the South African government to suspend all export permits for weapons or ammunition destined to Israel. If our demands are not met in 7 days, further escalation of protests here, as well at all other factories of Rheinmetall in the country, will continue unabated and indefinitely until our demands are met.
And that's all we have for you this week. We're back with more social justice news next week.